Welcome to another YouTube live stream. My name is Stefan Kunz. I'm going to be doing this drawing session with you guys. So if you do not know what a Come Draw With Me session actually is, this is where we get creative together. That means you and me here in the studio. I'm in Zurich in my own studio, and I'm excited to do this drawing session with you guys because getting creative is what it's all about. And you see, as I just drew this, let's create something today. I want to be creative, and these live sessions actually help me to get creative, to stay creative, and to make something awesome. So I got my assistant Judith next to me. Judith, say hi.
Hi guys.
You can probably barely hear her, but she's here. She's gonna be looking through the questions that you guys are gonna ask, and she will also ask me something if she doesn't know, help you guys out so that we can really serve you guys in this live chat. So what we're doing today is we are doing a Bible journaling session. So Bible journaling is something that I've started a long time ago. That's when I got into lettering, and probably the best way I got to practice my lettering. I actually have a couple of sketchbooks here in front of me. Let's just show you kind of how this looks. You see, this is how I started off with lettering. Let me take away this piece of paper because that's a little bit distracting, but you see, this is how I got started, barely doing any styles and stuff, and it kind of started to evolve. And let's jump a few pages later, and I kind of like summarize a chapter of the Bible every single time and try to get better and better and improve and add more styles. And you see, not much more improvement until I got to really start changing every single word, adding a new style. And that was the end of the first book, and now I have the second book that I've filled. And you see, the cool thing about that is to do that in a sketchbook is to really fill out every single page. And you see here, the creativity starts to grow. I got more into lettering, more into different styles, and practice all these different lettering styles. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do you memorize all these styles? Well, I do not memorize them at all. I just like to create and come up with everything that I can and practice that as well. Since I'm using a felt tip marker like this one here, like the Stabilo Point Max, that's one of the ones I use here. It's actually a great practice to make mistakes, and the thing that makes it look so beautiful is the whole page. But more on that and how you can do it later. Now, why do I do these live streams? Again, it helps me to get creative, to share something with you guys, to help you out, and it's the best way to get practical and practice. Now, also, why do we do the Bible journaling session? Now, you do not have to do that with a Bible. I'm absolutely aware that you might not be a Christian or not have any religious views or whatever, maybe even a different religion, then that's totally fine. You do you. You can do that with song lyrics. You can do it with a text. You can actually take the dictionary if you want to and just fill out a page, random words, whatever you want to. The goal of this exercise is just to have something that you can write and that you have to practice your styles. And drawing every single word in a different style on that one page helps you to practice those styles and come up with new ideas in new creative ways. Now, you can also see that we have our chairs up here. We just cleaned the floor, so it looks a little bit better. We took care of our plant here, Chloe. She's hopefully taken care of in the back, like we watered her over the time. My assistant wasn't here, so I had to start take care of those plants myself. And it's still here, so I'm happy about that. But also just want to give you a couple of updates before we get started. It's my whole YouTube live setup is getting an upgrade, and it's going to move in around very soon. Let me just show you kind of what I'm talking about. Need to just make sure, and let me show you. So here we have, it's not synced right now, so don't worry about that. And I can switch between cameras, and you see the camera is getting better. It's getting sharper, more blurry in the background, which is kind of cool. So I got this happening very soon, and I cannot wait to use all the setup. Also, the lights here in the studio are getting better, and so I'm excited about that too. And just to make sure that I can give you the best quality. And for that, I want to say thank you to my Patreons who are actually helping me out on this, who are giving generously every single month, and just starting with $1 up to $25 is like probably right now the record where the limit is set, or where people can still give more if they want to. But I'm really thankful for everyone who's giving something, because that helps just to make it possible to actually invest so much into this, because I'm probably getting about the same amount, so about $250 per month from YouTube ads and from Patreon. So together around 400 or 500 maybe ish. That's never clear. So this is why it definitely not pays all of the equipment itself. I still can pay for that for myself, but I'm thankful for everyone who's just contributing, being part of this whole journey. So Jonathan, who is also here in the chat, is one of them. We had so many awesome, like Supernova again. And so I see so many people here in the chat. Awesome insight. All right, let's get started. Let's start with point number 1. What are the tools that you'll need in this exercise? So we have one of my easiest ways, so starting off with a pencil. Now you need a pencil. You don't need a pencil. You can go straight in with a pen as well, or you can even add another color. So for example, I have this sketchbook here that has some different colors in, where you just would use some different words and color these in. That gives a little nice touch as well. That's how you can upgrade it. But yeah, you can also just use brush pens. Brush pens are great because they have a fine nib, but also can fill out the whole word really nicely. So that means if I'm drawing like a letter, like an L like this, I can just use the thick part of the letter or the nib here and just fill it out so much quicker than if I had to go through the same part here and then have to fill it out like this, and it probably won't even be filled as nicely as it would be with a brush pen. Now, both of these pens have their best use, not always the best one to use, so you can decide which one is better for you. But what I want to tell you guys is that there are no right or wrong tools to do that. Any tool is great. I've been using this small little pen here in my hand. It's a free pen that I got on United when I was flying to the US. It did a job really, really well for the past weeks, where I journal in my Bible again. And again, it's just a great exercise to do every morning. So how does this exercise work? That is a question. So starting point is always you start off with a blank piece of paper. So I'm gonna give you an example of just this piece of paper. And let's jump over again to the top here. You can see there's a blank piece of paper that you have that you fill out. So you would start off here with the first word. Now I'm just gonna write, I don't know, first. I'm not even sure why I did the F this way. That's terrible F, but it actually works. Then first, and then you have like word, and you just write it out in different styles. And I'm just doing it really quick. First word comes, and you come up with a maybe different style, maybe something really edgy, and you start filling it out. Now, as soon as you get into the second row, you see you do not have always a straight line, kind of how you started here. So you get in and you like have comes in here, like it will fit somewhere here, and kind of like using the space as best as you can. Have more, let's see, I don't know. I'm not making any sense with what I'm writing here, but that's the fun part and showing you guys how this works. And you try to come up with new ideas. So here again, I could actually maybe fill this out and just coming up with different ideas. Now the fun part gets where you start trying out different styles that you've never tried before. And this is where you would go on Pinterest, and you can follow me on Pinterest as well. So here I have my boards. Let me go on boards here, and let me see if I can find my inspiration. Single word, for example. Perfect. Now I can see, ooh, this NASA logo looks pretty dope with the 3D. So I'm gonna try this here. For example, have more, let's say letters. First word comes, have more letters. Let's see, like I'm gonna start off with just drawing out the outlines. Now, do not mind the speed right now. You have to go at your own pace, and things will look more difficult, but as soon as you've done it multiple times, and you can see like my practice, when I started again out with the practice, like this is what I did, and already like a couple pages later, like days later, it improved so much. So as long as you practice your letters and really improve a lot, then you will get better and better and better. And I see that already a couple more people are starting to follow me on Pinterest. You see that notification? That is you guys. following me on Pinterest. So here we go. We have all of these letters like that, and you can see I'm already trying to copy this style here and trying to change the letters, like make it just so, and see how I can kind of like copy some elements and so forth and so on. Now I can also fill out those spaces, and you'll see every page will be a little bit different, but this is how I do it. I start by implementing words, putting them all together, and at the end I have a full page full of words, full of awesome stuff that I can put together. This is how it works. So I hope that makes sense. We'll see that in a moment as well. And to see, by trying out these new elements, these new styles like the 3D, maybe it just doesn't work really well. That's okay, because as soon as you've filled out the whole page, it will look great. It will not suck, or it will not even look that terrible, because again, if I show you one of my first pages here, like I can cringe just looking at some of those things here. Again, a lot of them look like some similar styles, and that's at the beginning, that's totally fine. Like you were just maybe try 2 styles, and then every single day you'll add a new style and you repeat practicing another style, like the 3D, the thick letters. I still practice these and I still implement them again and again. Like here, there was a special 3D piece that I did. I don't know what I was doing, but it worked. So yeah, total mess, but it's always a great practice. Again, practicing your letters is always great. Now, finally, it's really a daily improvement thing. It's not something that you'll do once and then you'll have it figured out. No, it's something that you'll do daily and on a daily basis, and you practice it over and over and over again. So this is why I want you to maybe incorporate it with something that you love doing. For example, if you love reading, then why not just write out some couple words that you love. If you love to read like books, like nonfiction books, for example, books that help you about money, leadership, creativity, all these good things that you can learn from, like why not summarize that? Because as soon as you start summarizing something, you put it into practice. And this is why I love doing it with the Bible, is because I get to really spend more time on every single word, on really focusing on these words and remember more of the text afterwards. So again, this is why I'm doing this. And thank you, Lindo, for this lovely compliment. I'm trying my best here to also prepare. So here, this is the little page and piece that I prepared for the live stream, so I get to do that. So now is the time where we finally get started with the exercise. So I've decided for myself to go with Romans 12. It's one of the chapters I actually love most. I've read it for probably a couple of weeks over and over and over again. And I hope that you'll love that too. You can choose your own text if you want to and just letter it alongside me with your own words. You can copy those styles that I have done. You can just get inspired in any possible way you want to. So I hope that this makes sense and that you can follow along. So again, I wanted just to say, take a couple of minutes to do not forget to like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel if you're new here. I'd love me to like send you these videos every other day. So we're doing this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we already got the next live stream set up. So for Wednesday, I'm gonna be preparing a new or redesigning some of my followers' work. And I've already got one, Stunner Inc., who has actually allowed me to use his piece, and I'm gonna redo his piece and just show you kind of like a couple of mistakes that are easily overseen and how you guys can do that better. So I'm excited about that, and I cannot wait to do that on Wednesday with you. And on Friday, we're doing the letter G, J, G, G. After F comes G, G, H, I, J. So this is what we're going to do. And if you want to become a exclusive Patreon member, what we want to do very soon is doing the live coaching. I've talked about it several times. Also, you know what's going to happen behind the scenes. Like a lot of my Patreons know what is coming up and they're really excited about it. They do not know a lot about it, but they do know something that you probably do not know. So there's a little secret that you guys can be in on if you become also an exclusive member. So you can become an exclusive member on Patreon and join us there as well, and join our creative chats, our community chats that we do from time to time. All right, guys, I hope that you have found something to write about. Maybe it's a song lyrics. Again, it could be a book or anything you want. But now it's the time where we get into the chill mode and we just let it flow and try something new. Okay, are we ready? Let's do this. So I'm using my sketchbook that I've prepared here. I'm gonna take the paper in the background away. I'm gonna pour myself a drink first, just so I have something to drink and you guys can see that. Some ASMR sound. You know, we're trying to improve this channel in every single possible way. I think it was Supernova who chatted in the live stream that she's getting some water because hydration is really important, and it's true, it really is. Okay, so I got Romans chapter 12 over here, and I'm gonna use the Stabilo Point Max. I love the felt tip pen here, the nib on this one, because it's really long lasting, really great. And no, it's not advertising. I'm not paid to show them, but they do actually sponsor me from time to time. They sponsor my workshops, my in-person workshops, and they are just providing me with awesome stuff. So I'm gonna start over here, and I like to have a starting point. So for example, Proverbs 7, as you can see here, I wrote that in the style. So I'm going to get in here and just do Romans in the same style. And the reason is why I'm doing that is actually a very simple one. As soon as you've written down the first word, you are getting closer in the flow and you're ready to roll. And so this is all about getting into the flow. So the first word, it's kind of like messing up the first page in your notebook. It's necessary and helps you to just get started, not to think about it too much. So here it's going to be a little bit longer. I'm planning that in my head here. There's a 12 coming inside. So just whenever I go over this page again, so kind of like the page next to me, Proverbs, I want to just to know where, like, what's it referencing to, so I can always look it back up in if I find something that gets me excited, like for example, careful instructions, talk to wisdom, as to a sister, kind of like that. Like if I'm interested in that, I can go back to the Bible and I know exactly where I can read that again. So let me reduce here the brightness. That is a little bit too little. There we go, that's about fine. So here, I'm gonna use another color. We could have used the same one. I'm not sure where I've actually left it. But here, just filling this out, and let's go. So a living sacrifice, I kind of like these titles as well, but let's read through. So therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in the view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice. Now, I'm not gonna do too much commenting on the text itself, that you can do for yourself. This is your true and proper worship. So I'm seeing if I find something that like sparks interest in me, and you see the yellow part is where I've highlighted the text anyway, so I know that that's something that will spark something. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So transformed by the renewing of your mind. So transformed, I like that. I'm gonna start with transformed. I'm gonna go into a script here because that kind of like is contrasting enough from the first one. That just ended perfectly. More often than not, it's luck, but also just practice to get it close enough and get it right. But you can also just do a dry run, meaning you can just go in and just like write it out, like see, okay, if I do that, how far do I get? Do I need to move around? So that's a dry run where you can move around and just figure out where you should start or how big you should letter those single letters. So here, just adding some weight. And again, I am very demanding of myself, which means that I'm not happy with how I put those weights. But again, it's perfectly okay, because in the end, it's not that word that will make out the whole page. And I can learn, like, from my mistakes. I can see, like, oh, you know, I can maybe erase them around, just adding the same weights everywhere. That way I do not have too many problems. And so it becomes like a monoline. I can improve my consistency. But there's a dual exercise. One exercise is to read and to use that to kind of memorize it well. There we go. So let's see. Go back to the text by the renewing transforms, and now I can just go in as like by. Let's make it like that. Maybe add some stippling inside. Like that, why not? And just go for the next word. And I can also just overlay some words as here, kind of like this. And then go for the renewing. Now you can see already I'm giving a lot more focus. Also, my hands getting warmed up, which is also really helpful. And then we have here of your and now I can, for example, switch to another color. So bassoon artwork 456. These are not Stabilo brush pens. These are Point Max. So they have a sturdy tip. Otherwise, filling out would be a lot simpler and take less time. But it helps actually to keep a lot of precision on it. So here we go. By the renewing of your mind, then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, perfect will. Test and approve. Transformed by the renewing of your mind. I think I'm just going to leave it here. I'm just going to the next, because actually the whole chapter is really long and we need to find the rest. humble service in the body of Christ. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. Sober judgment, maybe, for just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, each member belongs to all others. One body. I feel like one body is an essential part, that we are unity and not scattered. So I always come back to some styles that I always will use. For example, the style of the O, and you'll see that in the ABC lettering that we did with Ian a couple of weeks ago. You can rewatch the whole live stream there, but we actually shared about kind of like some letters that we draw all the time, all over again, and this O is one of my favorite letters, and so I like to introduce that now and there. And even play like with the parts of the letters that you don't usually play with. You can really just give it a go and then see, like, again, if you mess up, no worries. And so I see that I have some space between here, which is okay. I can just add some stars and stuff. Stippling is also a great way to fill out spacing, and you just want to make sure that the whole page is filled out in some way or another. And then sometimes I like to get also inspired by the letters that are around here. So one, I can see now that I could actually do a banner style. And so I start with one part of the banner and then write out some letters just so I know exactly how long the banner should be. Now this is a weird banner, but again, we learn. Now I'm gonna switch here to a brush pen. Somehow I feel like I lost, there it is. There's a Stabilo brush pen, which is really amazing, and that will actually help me to fill out this a lot faster because I'm extremely impatient when it comes to filling out things. It's probably one of the things I really hate doing in anything. It's filling out things. Patience, like stippling, is one of the things I cannot stand, but I sometimes do. And always regret starting it, but I actually enjoy finishing it. Maybe you guys can relate. Maybe some of you don't enjoy jogging or running. Just ask yourself, like, why did I start? And then you realize, like, yes, it actually is good for me, myself. And maybe you also don't like filling out things. Okay, one body and one body. Where was I? Form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. One body, different gifts. That's kind of like here. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophecy, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. So one body, different gifts. So I got to get used to using a felt tip marker. It's a different experience than using a pen, ball pen. Now it's getting just very tight towards the end. And so this also really helps you practice drawing letters with the outlines. Like, I don't think there are so many great ways to practice that than doing this exercise here. Maybe I can just add some dots inside. And then I can also add a underline under one. All right, that are about 3-4 lines that we already done. We see again, Romans 12, transformed by the renewing of your mind, one body, different gifts. And we're already kind of getting the gist of the whole text, the beginning of the first couple of verses we used. If it is serving, then serve. If it's teaching, then teach. If it's to encourage, then give encouragement. So one of the things that I love to do is encourage people, which is why I'm going to write this down, because that one speaks to me. So if it's encourage, give encouragement. So here I'm trying to do a more Western style, which means I'm trying to put the weight of the letters on the top and the bottom. Like this here, so it's kind of like a serif styled letter here. And again, if you do not have any inspiration, and we're about to use that first, we're trying to exhaust our mind. So it's kind of like doing push-ups. Like first you start off with doing push-ups using your full weight, but then as soon as you start losing like energy, like you go on your knees and you're not on your feet anymore, so you do the push-ups from your knees out, so kind of like it reduces the weight of your body, so you can still keep on doing more. And so that way you really go all out until failure. And so we're doing kind of that same thing with this exercise. We're trying to first come up with all these different ideas and concepts before we actually take the easy way out and create our, come up with inspiration that we find somewhere else. So give encouragement. Again, one letter that I like to draw here is, for example, the E, just like that. And just doing the bouncy letters that I rarely do, but it looks give encouragement. And I'm struggling with the space, but we're making it fit just very tight. See, I could have used a little less space here with the beginning, and I'm going to use here the brush pen to do the weights and the contrast. And I need to remind myself, since we started using two colors, that I need to introduce those two colors more often now. For example, we could fill in the body here, but we could also fill in the gifts, just so we have another word here. But we can just go and as well and start the next word in this what is it? Turquoise color here. Actually, is one of my favorite colors to use. Of all the colors I like to use, this turquoise color is one that I love. But as you might see, I'm always wearing black. The background is really dark, so there's not that many color choices for me that I like to use. Okay, so we were here. So if it's encouragement, if it's giving, then give generously. So generously is as well, giving generously. Give encouragement, and generous. If it's giving, give generously. So generous. Well, now if we put generously, it will kind of like tie that together, but that's okay. Let's see, what kind of style could we go for? Slap serif. Perhaps. Again, I absolutely hate filling out. Let's see if I can find a brush pen with that same color. Oh, made a mistake here with the letters. That happens sometimes, that I miss out a letter, write the word wrong. I'm terrible at spelling sometimes, even though I have the word next to me and I could read it out. So why is it always locked? Generous. All right, now first up, we're gonna see if we can find a pen. So I'm just gonna try if I can show you guys the setup in my studio. Let's see, going back here to the front, jumping in this one here, and there we go. Yes, that should work. See if that's the same one. Looks like it. Also Stabilo, so it should be the same color. It's not like they're gonna have two different types of turquoise, maybe different shades, but not different ones in the same shade or in the same style. You see, I love being efficient. The more efficient I can be, the better. Always trying to do things as easily as possible, even if it sometimes means going over the line. Now, this is the second thing that is great about this practice too. Well, second, third, fourth, fifth. Who knows how many great things it actually has. This exercise is really a great exercise. But doing that with something else than a pencil that you cannot erase is that you're stuck with that. So you're not able to jump back and forth. Like if you're doing it on the iPad is great, but one thing that I struggle with the iPad is that I really cannot, hold myself back from going back, if that makes sense. So here, this is great because there's no way that I can use an eraser. I cannot erase any of this. So there's only one possibility to learn from that, and this is why it's so good. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's keep on trying, see how far we are. Guys, if you haven't already, do not forget to hit the like button here in the video. You can smash a like. I see that we are already 226 people viewing, up and down, back and forth, 221. You can hit the like button and let's get it to maybe even 200 before we end up. So we got a whole page in front of us, but you guys can make this happen. And I believe that we get to 200 faster than we actually can see anything. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I see my stats. I see how many people watch my videos and are not subscribed. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm also someone who likes to watch videos of other people and not subscribe, but there's no reason not to subscribe. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it's totally easy to do. So let's go jump back here. Encouragements. Oh, thank you, Bible. You are not in this alone. A prayer for anyone struggling with addiction. Well, that's nice. Then give encouragement. If it's giving, then give generously. If it's to lead, do it diligently. If it's to show mercy, do it cheerfully. Okay, love in action. I love this first, like, just love in action. So let's see if we can start by writing out love like this here. Again, I'm just a little bit short on space. Actually, I'm very short on space, and I'm gonna mix in here a lowercase e, and then I'm also just gonna add a drop shadow, which I haven't done in a long time. But these are fun to do. When you do a drop shadow, you just actually copy the same line, you just put it parallel to those letters, and you fill it out. That way you kind of can justify the black hole in here. Love, generously love, that works too, but love in action. So sometimes it doesn't make sense if you write it out right there, but like I like to give here a little arrow that it points in action like this. Okay, there's actually a way to color in faster by just holding down the pen as close as horizontally as possible. That way it actually works really well. Okay, so now I see that I'm not seeing any new ideas. So I'm kind of out of ideas. What I'm going to do, again, going to my boards. Let's see if I can go to my inspiration board. And again, if you are not following me here on Pinterest, you can do that. You can find all my boards and pins that I have about letters. And now I want to see something that I kind of could use. And for example, why not this? So, all right, I do not know any way how I can do this, but this looks so cool. And I want to just figure it out on the spot with you guys watching live. So here there's kind of like these loops. Can you see those little loops here? I love those. And so I'm trying to see if I can come up. So here on this side it's very narrow. But then it's really contrast rich, so it's thick. Let's see. I can somehow not zoom out anymore. That is annoying. So I gotta be creative. So I'm not gonna fill out the big parts here, but here again, yeah, there's no way that I can get back there easily. So consistency with letters, that is probably one part that you will struggle with the most. I struggle with it a lot. to get your letters to be as consistent as possible. But you know, that comes with practice, hard work, and just trying it out. It's kind of like that. I'm going to use the big brush pen to fill it out. What you could also do is when you're filling it out, if I hadn't filled out the A already, I could have, for example, left an inline in here. And that way you can still be creative by just, you know, leaving an inline, trying to be as, again, consistent as possible. And practice, like even filling out those letters in a specific way could be really cool. But again, I already filled it out, so I'm just gonna use that. And you can see it looks very different from the others because I was not so sure about the style, about all these things, so there was more hesitation while drawing it. But again, you can fix some of that later on without any problem. Just trying it out here. Oh, and I keep forgetting to drink something. So let's see if I can find something else. Boards. Find another style that I like. Oh, why not? Why not go into chalk lettering here, for example? But I first need to know what I want to write. So love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself. That is hard. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. I love this part here. That one, actually I can highlight that one. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. So be joyful. Now, love in action, kind of, that could have been one line here. And you can see already these become almost all the same line. So I kind of want to break that off as well, but not too much. Again, we're kind of in the middle here. So I just want to see if I can fill something in here before jumping into be joyful. Because otherwise I'm just going to start be and then joyful. Like, it could work too. You know what? Let's just do that. So why not introduce kind of like a cloud? I don't know why I did that. Just a shape that I felt not appropriate for the word, but just fitting to fill out that space here in between. You can see, kind of messes part up, but that's okay. Because we learned this now again and again, that it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, because in the end you barely will see it anyway. The whole page will look stunning, and this is why this exercise is so much fun and great to do. Okay, be joyful. Now we can go back to a more script style letter. So I know that there's going to be an F, so I'm just going to see. I've never actually done this. Joy. Make it uppercase F here. Ooh, that looks cool. See, in the times where you feel like everything sucks that you do, sometimes things turn out a lot better than you thought it would. So here, this is one of the styles that I love to do, is kind of add the weight on top and at the bottom. You'll see that in a lot of my pieces. You'll see that. Oh yeah, and do not forget to send me or tag me in posts where you're drawing right now. Like if you're drawing at home, in front of the computer, in front of your TV screen, wherever you are right now, you can tag me on Instagram in your stories so I can see that, I can reshare that, because I love seeing people getting creative, watching these drawing sessions, and see how you guys are doing. And just staying creative. That's the goal. So joyful in hope. Now we have the next word, patient in affliction. I like that one too. So let's see what style we can do that. Let's go back to Pinterest. Let's see what we have here. Chalk lettering pieces. And I actually like this one here. So patient, let's see. Patient, so I start here with a P that I found. So why not do this Gothic style? Again, I'm not gonna try to fill it out right away. And I can also be creative with those letters. I do not have to copy it exactly. Just come up with my own ideas. See, there's a T, so that is helpful. Because I was just out of ideas how I could do that T. And then I find one, which is awesome. Now the E. I feel like I can do the same as the top of the T here. And then kind of go on this side down. Then we have the N as well, so that is practical again for me. Now, I'm missing out on this spot right here, but we'll figure something out, how we can fill that void, that gap. And I'm gonna use the brush pen again. So let's see, how many likes do we have? Judith, how many likes do we already have on the YouTube video? 137 likes on the video. Guys, we can do better than that. I know that. So why don't you take just 2 seconds, click the like button. Also check out the next YouTube live stream that we're doing, which is next Wednesday. So this Wednesday actually. And you can already click on that one, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on it, because we are going to improve one of my followers' work. And who knows, maybe you get to hand in your piece where I get to improve that. And I'm just going to do the whole piece again and trying to show you, like, based on his work, how you can improve that easily and just get more consistency out of it and improve some parts. It's not about making his piece bad. He did an absolutely amazing job, and I'm really proud of him for how he's doing it. I just saw a couple of ideas of how I could easily improve it or how I would have improved that. And so that is how I want to help him and make a great session. Eventually, I'm also thinking of if we could Zoom together so I can kind of like coach him through that whole thing, which would be fun to do. So patient in affliction. Now there's not much that I can do, well, except for, you know what? How about a crazy ligature like that? Whoop, short. Oops. So here we gonna add a in. And then we're doing another. How are we doing this one? Something like that. So this comes from practice, trying to figure out how you can do that. This is a good try though, to kind of fill in that gap. So not too much, otherwise I'm just having to redraw the whole thing. Here you can see you can just correct those little mistakes that I did, or just improve those strokes. See, that's the hard part when you're doing calligraphy. You need to learn to do that perfectly. But if you're doing lettering, there are great ways how you can improve that without actually having to learn too much of that or perfect your strokes. It never hurts though. It never hurts. All right, let's see. What's the next parts? Joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. So let's see how we can do faithful. Let's go back here. Are there any other examples in here? Maybe yeah, but who knows? So faithful. Oh, you know what? I have this idea from, where is it? I think there should be something about it in here, but not entirely sure. It's a sign painting styled letter. Ooh, that F though would be really nice. Faithful with the, this is from Jeanette Liao, who has a beautiful F here. So let's see. So this is also how I discover some of my favorite types that I do. So let's see, I cannot see it. Even this F here is just excellent. Let's see if I can somehow find out. Like that. Over here. So again, trying to reinterpret it in my own way. So I'm not taking these strong edges, which actually are really cool, but so let's see. So we're almost at the end of the page here, so let's see that. And as you can see, you can follow me on Stefan Kunz on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, and again, you can become a exclusive member on Patreon and support this channel, support these live streams. If you want to see more of them, this is how you can be a part of it, be a member of our exclusive community, and join us there. Join our live streams, our live chats, Zoom community hangouts, and more things to come where we're working on it. Now, I've actually changed it completely from what it was right here, from what Jeanette has done. Oh yeah, also, this could be a fun question to ask you guys on the live chat, is who should I get on the live stream? Like, I want to invite some guests to join me here to create and where you guys can learn from. And so if you have any ideas, any suggestions that you would love to see on this live stream, let me know right now, and hopefully we can find something really, really cool. Okay, I could have done a better job with this one. Probably say that about every second word that I do, but again, it's about trying, and I could have done a better job from copying this one here. So faithful in prayer. That was the one that we had. Okay, cool. Prayer. I can do now the paint style, the sign painting style for prayer. Let's see. Do I have an example or not? That's okay too. So many good examples in here, but let's try it out by ourselves. So kind of like imagining holding the sign painting brush. And I totally forgot the in, but that's okay. Again, kind of gives the reader some guessing to do. It's not the best thing to actually ask a reader to put in too much effort, but why not? So this becomes a very flexible word apparently, because all the letters are different sizes. Maybe we can still, still insert the in here. Just kind of like that. Barely see it. But in case you are looking at it and you're wondering like, how do I read through it? Now you know. Let's see, what is the next part of the verse? Share with the Lord's people who are in need, practice hospitality. That is great. Bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse. Bless and not curse. I feel this style here is more like graffiti sprayers who kind of like hold their cans towards the top and kind of like it's let it spray out. That's what it reminds me of. So the closer you get to the wall with your spray can, the more dense the stroke will be, or the like tighter it will be. But the higher up you kind of like let spray out into the wide open, the bigger the stroke will be. So this is why I'm kind of like mimic that effect, maybe, perhaps. Why not? Try it out. Always give it a try. So bless, not curse. Or just bless and not curse. Okay, so this here is actually one of my things that I feel is really hard to do, but yes, kind of manage it. Yay. It's a circle and then just doing the outlines of a and sign. I think it's called the etc. sign because it has a E and a T combined in it somehow. Do not ask me if that's correct or if that's accurate. And not like here, the not. Okay, let's get creative with the curse. I'm really out of practice with those felt tip markers. And here, I need to Add some space. See, this is where I love creativity, where you can actually start to transform letters into something else, change their shape. And this is where, if you could just redraw it, you would not do it like that. And that's where like happy-ish accidents happen. Again, not necessarily the best accidents, but still accidents that you can fix. And you can totally fix that. You can always fix pretty much anything. Like, it's not going to turn out necessarily the best way than if you redid it, but learning from your mistake that way, not getting to do a redo, like, it's kind of like life. There's no way you can redo something. So you just have to learn from your mistakes by actually having made those mistakes and not just pressing Control Command Z and going back. Bless and not curse. Let's see what else we have. That is my Instagram. That is something else. Let's go back here. Bless and do not curse. Back here, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn, live in harmony. Live in harmony. Live in harmony. That could actually work in here. So live. That in something like this, and then we will end off the last words. Try to make that also blue. Remind me if I forget. Almost done. And now we can finish the last word. Let's close off those pens here. And let's finish it off with harmony. Live in harmony. Let's see if I can come up with a new style that I haven't tried yet. Ooh, I love that H here. Let's see if we can do something in this style. And I haven't tried like hard. Oh, it's gonna be very tight, but we can manage to fit that in here. So how are you guys doing at home? Let me know how this exercise is going for you. If you find it really difficult, if you are doing really fine, perhaps, how far you've gotten so far. Even if you're just at the beginning of the page, that's totally okay. If you're copying just everything that I do, that's totally fine too. But I really suggest and highly recommend that you try it on your own and see how far you get, how you can manage to fix that. Because again, it comes from practicing, it comes from trying. Now let's see if we can. Ooh, this was not that great, but that's, again, totally okay. And finally, this is where we add some fillers in some way here. Some stippling perhaps. No, starting here with stippling would be stupid. Not on a live stream. It's probably one of those things that I will say not on a live stream, except if I'm doing a 1 hour challenge. Apparently that works. But here we go, filling out some spaces. And so the more you do these, the more you'll learn like how you can actually fill in these spaces really well. Kind of even come up with some shapes to complement that. add some drops here and there, and just see where you could fill in some space. So it looks a little bit bouncy here. So many pieces to fill out. And again, you can see kind of the improvement. The further we went on, the more I was warmed up, I feel like. And so let's take a moment to actually look it over. There we go, Romans 12. So that's only the beginning of Romans 12. There's a whole more chapter on that end. But here you go. You see, probably the one that I actually put on the most action here was on the action. And if these pens would still work, you could kind of like add some stippling in here and kind of like give it some gradient. But you don't have to. This is only joking around and just playing around. See how much you can still add. If you didn't already add that right at the beginning, it's totally fine to leave it as is. But again, playing around, that's kind of where you learn the most from, where you actually get to play around with it. So let's see if I can just move up the camera. Let's see if this will shake a tiny little bit. I can pull it up even higher. There we go. So Romans 12, let's have a brief overview of what we just finished doing. So we started off, again, left top side of the page. We started off with Romans. I copied the same style on the same page just to get into the flow. So if you want to start out doing one of those pages, don't forget to, just find a way you can get into the flow. That's always a great way to just do the same thing over and over again. So Proverbs 7, Romans 12, same style, same idea, easy peasy, not too difficult. Then we started with transformed. We kind of realized like, oh, okay, there's actually I need to get warmed up. I need to find out how I can do that better. And then started out with new styles, kind of going through, writing down whatever impacted me the most, whatever I connected with the most. And so kind of like that, it's a summary for me that when I go back again and I can read for here, for like treasure, my careful instruction, talk to wisdom as to a sister, and treat insight as your companion. They'll be with you to fend off the temptress. There we go. You see, I'm getting it back. Dress to seduce him, and soon seduce and soon eating by. I don't know. I'm not getting the whole thing here anymore. Too long ago. And again, this is also why it's so difficult if you do not have a good flow, if you kind of mix it up. But then we kind of came with some problems. So here, this is the first time that I felt like I needed some inspiration. So we went over to Pinterest, found something new, and came up with something. We always kind of switch between those colors. I could have done that a little bit more. So we just have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all also about the same amount. Let's see. Here I have definitely more here. But you can be very creative with all your styles. You can play around. Again, if you see suddenly a big gap appear, like figure out a way how you can come up with, how you can solve that problem. And as always as well, making mistakes, you barely see them anymore on this whole page, because like it's kind of like, where's Waldo? You have a hard time finding Waldo because you actually need to look for it. And it's kind of like this here. If you want to find a fault or error, it's actually hard to look through that as well. So here you go. This is how you can spend time reading through something, summarizing something as well, spend more time with the words. So if you're a Christian like I am, you can really do that really well. And this is a great way to do your devotional time, kind of like I did here. Again, it wasn't really about perfection, but it was more about just practicing styles, like coming up with ways, playing around with a little pen like this here, just seeing what you can do. These styles here, this is a better style of sign painting than I did over here, but it actually works in both ways. So let me see where I'm at. Okay, so what would I improve, or how can I improve it the next time? So this is always a great question when you go into this exercise, is asking yourself, how can I improve myself for the next time that I start? Again, I would say start off with something to get into the flow, and then just kind of map it out a little bit better. So this is something that I have not done in this page here, to map out, especially here towards the end. I always end up like very tight. And so this is something that I would do in the next page, the next time I start off again. It's kind of like plan it, map it out a little bit better so that it will be easier. That's improvement number one. Improvement number two is also not just fill out those letters right away, instantly, because as you can see here, I have more creative ways of filling out a letter. You can see here, there's some stippling involved, some nice gradients. So there's a lot more planning and just not just trying to fill it out right away. Kind of like, again, I'm impatient and I need to work on that. So this is also something that you can do, is just be patient, try out something new, and also play around with like 3D, other elements, all that stuff. So those are two improvements that I can do. Plan ahead and also fill out those letters a little bit better. So those are two great ways I can improve the next time. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's still the other camera installed here. Okay, we're back. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is already the end parts of this live stream. I cannot say thank you enough for being here for all this time. I see that we have 240 viewers. We almost at 200 likes. We could potentially do it, guys, if you just take a time to breathe and to click on the like button, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, because I love nothing more than to bring all of these videos more to you. And on Wednesday, we have another live stream where I'm gonna take Stunner Inc.'s post and I'm actually gonna redo that. Let's see if I have this somewhere here on the iPad, because I already started. You can see that on the thumbnail, and it's the one that I'm gonna use. And let's go back and see which one it was, so I can show you kind of like a little preview of what's gonna come very soon. So here we have it. We have the think outside of the box. It's always a great quote. I love this quote. I've actually drawn 2 times on a chalk wall, and it's really cool. So here you can see already some improvements that I've made, kind of like made it cleaner, easier, fixed some of those things. But you know what? There's a lot of stuff that we can just look at that and also finish it. So this is where I'm gonna take you on Wednesday, same time, same place, on YouTube as well. And yeah, I'm excited to see you there. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I cannot wait to see you there. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and see you guys soon. Bye.